Welcome to another episode of Inkwa Talks mini chats, and thank you for joining us. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. Accompanying me on today's show is a friend of mine. She is a hairdresser and she is a hair loss advocate. Ebony, would you like to introduce yourself to the people, Ebony?
Yeah, that's it. My name's Ebony. I'm a trichologist, so I specialise in hair loss and scalp disorders. I do a little bit of natural hair as well. I write sometimes. I have a podcast. Yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, cool. So like you're one of my clients and you've helped me with my hair, and yeah. I had a little bit of hair loss at one point. And you talked me through how to take care of my hair and so on and so forth. How did you find your way into
like hair loss and looking at people's scalps all day?
Yeah.
So I really like doing hair. I grew up in a house where like my mum was doing hair, so it would be like, you know, weekends Auntie would come around doing the curly perm, passing her the rollers and shit. And I'm the oldest child and my mum can't comb right, so getting to secondary school now, you know, like all the girls had their hair done in like certain styles. I was just like, oh man, I'm missing out, man. No one's doing it for me at home, so I had to learn how to do it. And from there, I think that's how I express like my creativity. So I'd be doing up all the different styles, slicked edges, all of that. And I used to practice on my little sister. So my sister Uju, she used to get, I feel bad for her sometimes, you know, when I think about some of the styles I did for her, because she was like my human dolly. Then having Nigerian parents, they were like, yeah, this hairdressing thing, later for that, you're going to be a doctor or something. So I went to uni, did a science degree, became a teacher, did that for a couple of years. And I was just like, I don't really like this. Was still doing hairdressing on the side. So I quit my job several times to go back and forth between teaching and hairdressing. And then finally, I was like, yeah, I've had enough of this. I want to go like full time into hair. And working in salons, I would see a lot of Black women, especially with like hair and scalp problems. And then like in the salons, they'd be like, oh yeah, just mix up this treatment or whatever. And I'm like, nah, this doesn't really make sense to me. Like, I don't understand why this is happening. So I don't know how I came across trichology, but when I did, I was like, yeah, this is the thing for me, man. It mixes like science. I still get to do hair. I love looking at people's scalps and figuring out like what's going on. So yeah, so since then, I've just been like so happy with it, you know, like I'm really, really glad that I found this work because it's proper like interesting.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, yeah, it suits you and it suits your personality. I think one of the things that you told me when I came to you and I showed you the problems that I was having, because as you can see, I've got locks, and I always thought, you know, the only way you get your locks is you have to go and you have to get it done and twist and blah, blah, blah. And it's only after I kept getting it done, I realized, this is 2 years in now, and I realized my hair's getting thinner and thinner and thinner. And I came to you and you saw I have like thin lock, a lot of stuff around it, thin lock, a lot. And that's one of my pet peeves. I was like, this can't be running. And then you told me not to put oil in my hair.
Yeah, that's the big one.
I know you're a big, obviously now when you go to get your hair done, and I'm not trying to beat up on anyone who goes and uses
not at all.
So I think a lot of people take that personally when you put stuff out about don't use oil, but it works. That method has worked for me massively.
It works for everyone. People just like, do you know what? When I started studying, I realized that everything I knew about hair was wrong. Okay. And not in to say that like I feel like I'm superior or anything. I just look at it differently now. So when I was a hairdresser, I was purely just looking at styling. So I was like, what can make the hair look the best? But now my role is what can help keep the scalp and the hair healthy. And those are usually at odds with each other. So a lot of the practices, especially as Black people that we have, they're not made to like maintain health. They're made to look really, really good. So when you go out and you come out the hairdressers, you're like, yeah, man, I spent, you know, my whole day, my bum is sore, but my hair looks good. And people don't realize that sometimes that can have a knock-on effect to like the health of their hair as well.
Go on. How? Like, because I know you know the science of it. I know you know the science of it. I'm not. Go on.
Okay, so with locks, I think I hear a lot of locticians say that like when you get like them installed, you know, you're not supposed to wash your hair for like a month. You're supposed to like let it get dirty. You can't wash your hair too often. There's lots of like big myths around locks, especially. And I'm like, if you just leave your hair, if you don't style your hair's just gonna match just generally if you don't brush it. So there's no need for you to be adding like beeswax. Yeah, no retwist gang. There's no need for you to add in like bare stuff to like make it do what it naturally wants to do anyway. And then the way that people will be like gripsing up the scalp, trying to get like, you know, the grids and making sure that every hair is in place. I see a lot of people when they take down their locks, they've actually got like traction alopecia. So like their hair is stuck in those shapes because it's been like worked on so many times. And we don't realize that these things are harmful. So I don't feel like anyone's out there doing it on purpose. It's just a thing where it's like, we don't really look at like the impact of like what we do and then the outcome and see like, oh, these two things are connected. So yeah, it can be a little bit tricky. So when I'm telling people, maybe don't retwist too tight, or maybe don't, you know, use oil in your scalp or wash it more often, they're kind of like, well, X person says I should do it and their hair's long. And it's like, okay, cool. They're on a ticking time bomb. You know, we don't know how long that's going to last for. Like, it's cool that they're getting away with it now, but not everybody can play those games. Yeah. You kind of have to be careful.
So what exactly does oil, well, maybe not exactly, but what does oil do to the scalp? Because obviously it has a different effect on different people. I've used coconut oil.
Yeah.
Not good results. Where some people are like, oh, I use coconut oil, use carrot oil, use almond oil, use shea butter, use this, use that, use this. How do you know if something's good for you or not? Or obviously you know when something's good for you, but how do you know where to go?
When people use oils on their scalp, usually they're trying to like combat like dryness or feeling like they're moisturizing it. Firstly, an oil won't moisturize your hair. It's a lubricant. So it's just going to make it like smoother or easier to like things to like rub over, whatever. So I always give the people example, like if you're thirsty, you drink water, you don't drink oil. Like it's not going to moisturize, it's not going to hydrate your hair. Okay. We usually tend to have drier scalps because of the shape of our hair, it being curly. The oil that our scalp produces called sebum can't travel down the hair strand as like better as like say Caucasian hair. You know, like they'll be like after a couple of days, oh, my hair's greasy, and they go wash it. Ours doesn't get that greasiness. And so we try to use oils to kind of like add into that. But when we do that, we're telling the body, you don't do your job, I've got it, I'll do it for you. And then it kind of like starts to dysregulate itself. And the oils are literally like a breeding ground for like bacteria, yeast, just all kind of madness, like smells and stuff. It's just not good. And if you're coupling that with not washing your hair very often, you're just leading to like some next level like biome in your scalp. And yeah, it's not nice. It's not nice. And as I said, most people can get away with it, but I guess the clients that I see, they're having like major issues. So like if your scalp is dry, you're putting oil on it, it's just going to make it more dry. So I tell people to stop. There's a little detox bit for about a couple of weeks where you're kind of like, oh, it feels worse than it did. But after that, you're like smooth sailing. You won't have to use oil in your scalp again. So I always tell people, try it, wash your hair more often, and then see how you feel. And I've only had one person come back to me and say that they needed to continue using oil. Everybody else, I'm talking like hundreds of people have been like, yeah, no, why was I doing that? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't use no oils no more.
Yeah.
I just do what you said, just wash it, let it dry naturally, and move on with your day.
Yeah.
So how often do you recommend, like, obviously you can't, it's a hard one with hair because it's similar with tattoos. I can't just tell someone, I can give someone guidelines on how to look after their hair, look after their tattoos. I can, but it's not a profession. But I can give someone guidelines on how to look after their tattoos, but I can't exactly tell them what works for them perfectly.
Yeah, so definitely. I feel like when it comes to like hair care, it's really, really, really simple. So you just need to have like a good washing regime. So shampoo, a light conditioner, and like a leave-in conditioner. Those are like your basics. If you have like those three things, most of your problems are going to be knocked out. Then you can kind of see like, oh, is there anything else going on? Because sometimes people come to me and be like, oh, okay, I've got this issue here. And it's like, all right, you're doing like 1, 2, 3, 4 other like things that are going to like cause issues as well. So let's get rid of those. And then most people can be like, oh, smooth sailing. Like for you, it was kind of like, let's not retwist as often, wash more, stop using like oils and stuff. And you were kind of like, oh, wait, I'm cool now. Like, I don't really need much more support. So yeah, washing hair every like week to 2 weeks, staying off like heavy products is going to be like the main thing. Just keeping it really, really simple.
Yeah.
And people are like, the hair shop is full of products. What am I supposed to do? I'm like, no, just a shampoo, conditioner, and a nice leave-in. That's it, you're set.
Yeah, because what's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. So some people maybe can use oil in their hair the right way.
Yeah,
and some people are just buying stuff and just lumping it in their hair.
Yeah, I feel like
making it worse.
When people hear me say don't use oils, I'm like, you can use oils on like the ends of your hair if you're doing a certain style or whatever, to seal in just like a little bit of moisture, cool. But I'm like, take the oil, just a little drop. You only need like a little bit to go over it. You shouldn't like be touching your hair later on and be like, oh, my hand's bare greasy from like products. It shouldn't be Soul Glow. You shouldn't leave like a you shouldn't leave like a hair print wherever you go. Do you know what I mean? Your hair should be like dry to the touch.
Whenever I hear someone say Soul Glow, I want to sing the song, but I'm not going to sing the song.
Don't used to get in trouble on YouTube for like, yeah, it's like because our hair isn't straight, it's curly. So when light hits it, it deflects off at like different angles. So it doesn't look like really, really shiny. Whereas like straight hair will be like a mirror. So our hair naturally looks like duller. It doesn't shine as much. So people kind of like, oh, I have to add more shine in because it doesn't look like moisturized. I'm like, no, your hair is perfectly good as it is. It doesn't have to be like, you know, a beacon when you're walking around.
Let's talk about your podcast for a bit.
Yeah.
What brought you forward to starting the podcast? Because you have some very interesting conversations on there.
Yeah. So I don't really like being on camera, which is funny because I'm here on camera.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't like doing videos too often, and I was getting asked the same questions over and over again, and I wanted to have like a medium where I could answer those so people could get information without necessarily having to come see me. So I wasn't having to like repeat myself too often, or making sure that everybody got access to the information that they need. Because I feel like sometimes when we go like doctors and stuff, they don't have no clue about us. They'll look at you and be like, oh, I don't know. Is there someone else you can ask, or just tell you what?
Funny story, a doctor pulled out an encyclopedia on me once.
Yeah.
I started going through, can you describe the symptoms? I was like, no, this is it. I'm done with doctors. I'm done with doctors.
You know, yeah, I feel like that's even good that they tried to like, you know, look for.
That's not the, nah, that's not the, nah.
Oh, I bring out my book sometimes. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, wait, let me just make sure, like, just to like confirm and stuff. But I feel like
it's not the same, man.
Huh?
It's not the same.
It's not the same. Okay,
it's not the same.
They have a lot of experience with us, and so immediately they're kind of like either don't believe us or just don't know what to do, and that can be very dismissive. So, like, my whole aim is to help Black women. So I'm like, wherever you are, I want to be able to make sure that you get access to information. So I try to have people on there that I feel like can help bring Black women's health forward, and men as well as like an addition, but Black women especially.
Actually, a good thing that I've been passing on to a lot of men is you told me stop towel drying your hair.
Yeah. Don't like be rough with it. Yeah.
Just leave the thing alone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the most basic things, because like, we'll have the towel and we scrub it. I feel like we're heavy-handed by like nature, and so all of those heavy-handedness, that's why lots of people's edges are gone. And it's just like, you know, I had one auntie that used to do my hair when I was younger, and I have like a McDonald's sign at the back of my head because of like the traction where she pulled my hair so tight, and it's never growing back. I'm like, where guys get like the hairline.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing her a couple of years ago, and she's got really bad hair loss now. And I was just like, see, all the wickedness that you've done, it's come to pay you back, you know? I was just, yeah, man, people out there ruining people's destinies, just not even knowing. So yeah.
Yeah, it's sad really how uneducated we are sometimes about ourselves.
But I think it's by design. When I think about it, like a lot of the, say, conditions that I see mostly Black women have, when I go to conferences, they're not talked about because they don't usually occur in like the same rates in other races, or like in white women or whatever. Like, say, scarring alopecias, for example. There's one called CCCA that I don't know how much it occurs in white women, and I just don't see a lot of research about it because it mostly affects Black women, or the research that's there is very limited. And when I have clients on the NHS, I tell them, go to a dermatologist. The dermatologist will be like, oh yeah, nothing I can do. You've got this, it's permanent, that's it. And like discharge them. But when I send them to like dermatologists that I work with who are more confident in Black hair, they get treatment, they get like medications, they get like a proper plan. And I'm like, where's the big disparity? Like, why is it so hard to kind of see someone with something and be like, oh, let me just try it? It's kind of easier to just be like, that's it, that's your destiny. Like, your hair's done for whatever. And they don't really explain why it occurs or what they can do. So lots of these women will go home thinking, oh, I did this to myself, you know, this is my fault. And I'm like, actually, most of the hair loss I see is a result of internal things. So people will be really ill. So people will have like nutrient deficiencies. So like women especially will be, like, I see lots of anemia. That's something that can be solved really, really easily with just iron tablets. But they'll go and have a blood test and no one will say to them, oh, actually, your iron's really low. They'll be like, it's in the range, it's all right, you know, and tell them to bounce. And it's like, you're not looking after us properly. So
yeah,
it's sad.
That actually leads nicely into one of your clips you had of your podcast about parasites and bits and bobs. And I think me personally, since I've changed my diet and started growing little bits and here and there, I've found
growing little bits. You're a farmer. Don't put yourself. I was looking at your video the other day, and I was big old like, was it like a squash in the back?
Well, the pumpkin, yeah. No, my pumpkins were dope this year. My pumpkins were dope. I'm not even gonna lie, they were massive. But I'm still learning.
You see how I'm inspired by you. I'm starting like my little.
Yeah, I was gonna say the plants are looking good. I'm very proud of you.
Otherwise, I just put these just so they're not distracting, you know.
No. I love a spider plant, man. I love a spider plant. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, how do you find that diet affects your hair as well? Because a lot of, for example, we'll talk about the plants. Like your plants need certain nutrients in order to survive, and they need a certain amount of light in order to survive. So if your plant is lacking a nutrient, and plants are protein just like our hair is protein. We have to learn that our diet, we are feeding ourselves in our hair, and your hair is like an indicator of your health, like your plants. Exactly green leaves are an indicator of its health. So how do you go about advising your clients in terms of diet?
Yeah, no, that's a really, really big thing. So I will make sure that we talk about their diet. And most people tell me like, you know, oh, I'm not eating like my fruits and veggies, or I'm not getting sick. I try to take like a really holistic view. So some women are kind of like prone to like dieting and things like that. And I'm like, if you're removing a massive food group from your diet, there's no way your body can prosper, because it will just take energy from other places. So like, yes, you may get short-term gains in terms of weight loss, but you're actually affecting how the systems might run. So you have to just be really, really careful. Actually, I recommend that all of my clients go to a nutritionist. So I have a Black nutritionist I work with that I send them all to her, and I'm like, listen.
So shout them out.
Oh, her name's Life's Recipe Ameze. She's on Instagram. She's really, really good. And what I like about it is that she's Nigerian, so she's cultural. So she won't tell you, okay, you know, potatoes, baked beans. Sorry, my alarm's going off. You know, cheese and cauliflower, like standard English diet. It'll be like, no. Do you want okra? Do you want egusi? Do you want, you know, rice and peas? Like, how can we make it healthy, and how can we make it appropriate to what we're eating? Because if you go to a normal nutritionist, they're going to be like, all right, so, you know, tell me what you eat in a day, your food diary. And I'm like, how do I put down pounded jam? What's the nutritional value of pounded jam? Like, I don't know. But she looks at it in like a really good way to make sure that we are getting what we need for ourselves and doing it in like the way that's easiest to us. But yeah, the things that I see the most is like nutritional deficiencies, and people will go and try and supplement them without finding out what's wrong. So there's loads of places that sell like hair pills or like supplements like biotin and things like that. I think even you were like,
I had biotin at one point.
Yeah. I'll get rid of it. Like, it doesn't even make no sense. Like the amount that you eat, like biotin is one of the things that's like in a variety of foods. So it's really easy for your body to get. But if you just have a really good varied diet, your body's going to be able to absorb all of the nutrients it needs. Fair enough, sometimes things go wrong and you may need additional supplementation, but most of the time, just eat good. If that's veganism, if it's still want to eat meat, just eating well will really help you. Like, as you said, you can't grow good hair if your body's not okay in any way, shape, or form. It's the first thing that's going to go.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us a bit more about your podcast, because you get a lot of stories, and I think we just kind of like grazed over why you got into it. I think we diverted very quickly.
Okay, let me go back. So, probably like last year now, I wanted to do a series talking to women themselves to tell their stories about their journeys with hair loss, because it's something that's still quite taboo in our culture, where like you experience hair loss and you don't really talk about it. You kind of like hide it, or you feel like it's like, oh my God, it's only me. Where I think it's like 1 in 3 people at some point will experience hair loss. So I was really interested in hearing like just random women's stories. So I put a post up and I was like, yeah, come, whoever you are, you can be on my podcast. And there was this one girl especially, so she'd had issues for a long, long time. And mate, I want people to go listen to it, because it's a 2-part episode, but it's really, just to condense it, she'd had a lot of diet issues. So she'd gone like abroad to like study somewhere else and didn't adapt her diet very, very well. So she had like a lot of stomach problems. I think the doctors diagnosed her with like IBS, and it was affecting her hair as well. And she'd gone to like different specialists and no one was able to help her. But she wasn't one of my clients. But because of like the severity of what she was experiencing, I was like, go straight to a dermatologist, go back and have some more blood tests, find out what's happening. And she came back and was like, oh yeah, Ebony, I found out what's wrong. And I was like, cool, tell me. She's like, yeah, I've got parasites. Like, there's my body is overrun with parasites. Like my gut is just oozing with parasites. And not like, in my mind, I was like, oh, it's worms and stuff. But these are like single cell organisms. So they're like little like amoebas or stuff. But I'm like, she's like, yeah, my body's completely out of whack. Like it's just been ruining my gut. Like, so now I think like her gut lining was completely ruined. So, you know, like tripe, like Shaki, it should look like, it should look like that. But it was kind of like getting it smooth, like it's eating it away.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just was affecting like her whole, like she was like, I'm bloated, my skin is bad, I can't remember nothing, I feel sick all the time, my hair's falling out in clumps.
Oh, wow.
And now that she started to get that sorted, within like a couple of weeks, she was just like, I feel like a brand new person. And if no one had like held her hand and been like, okay, you have this symptom here, but go and look somewhere else, she wouldn't have been able to get like the help she needed because she was just getting dismissed like left, right and center. So yeah, I like those kind of stories. And I try to speak to like people like that who I feel like have got something to share and make it just like a little bit less scary. Because I think, like I said, like it's quite taboo. So it can be quite isolating that you wake up one day and you're like, oh, wait, my hairline's kind of drawing back, or like this isn't working, or my hair doesn't grow past a certain length. You know, like, who do I talk to? Like I talk to my friends and they tell me, I'll go put like Jamaican castor oil on it, or talk to my hairdresser and they're like, oh, it's nothing, or let me just put the weave a little bit tighter. And it's like, you never get actual help or support. It's just, how can I cover it? And it's very, very shameful when it doesn't have to be that at all. Like if you caught a cold from someone, you're not gonna be like, oh my God, I caught a cold. Well, maybe now because it's coronavirus, but you know, like before it'd be like, oh, it wasn't your fault that you did something. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's something that happens naturally. It's your body telling you something isn't quite right. Can you kind of like pay a little bit more attention to me?
Yeah, yeah. Do you get a lot of male clients? Because I think men don't talk about hair loss.
I'm starting to see more.
As it's like it doesn't bother them almost.
Yeah, I'm starting to see more. Before it used to be like, if guys get male pattern, which is the really common one, they just like bald it off and be like, all right, cool, I'm just not gonna have any hair. But I'm starting to see more varied conditions. So I see a lot of men with like scarring alopecias, or like alopecia areata, which is the one where you get like the circle missing kind of, or even things where like they've got folliculitis. So when they've gone to the barbers and maybe like the clippers weren't clean, or like it's affected their scalp, so they get like the bumps. I even started doing male hair replacement units, the man weaves. No. Don't make that face. Don't make that face. Don't make that face. Yeah.
I've seen the videos, yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Watching the videos, it's amazing, but no.
It is, yeah. And so this happened just before when it's done. So I haven't had a chance to really like push it that much, but I think that it can proper restore people's confidence. And I feel like it should be accepted. If someone has hair loss and wants to like wear a replacement unit, they should be happy to go for it.
That's it. I think personally it's a thing of like, if that really bothers you that much that someone else is doing something to make themselves happy, you've got serious issues.
Yeah, definitely. But I feel like because they're just, like you said, men don't really talk about it. So they kind of like just, you know, they won't talk about how much it affects them, that the hair is like, they're losing the head or the hairline's receding. So it's good to have options. So yeah, hair male replacement units, I feel like they should be, you know, really become more common.
I think it already has. It's just a bit kept quiet. It's kept
quiet.
I
feel like in America it is. Here it's not so much, but it's starting to be. Like I even had like a guy email me this week and was like, oh yeah, are you doing them? I'm like, so it's lockdown. I'm not doing nothing. Like just chill. When the salon opens, then yeah, I've got you ready. But like, if you're like a man watching this, grow out your sides for a little bit, and then it can work.
Okay, cool.
I feel like you're just like,
I don't know. I ain't got them problems. I'm lucky. I ain't got them problems. I listen to your advice, so I don't think I'll be seeing you on that.
If it happened to you, would you get like a lock one? Have you seen like the lock ones?
No, because it's an expression of it's just my natural. This is how my hair grows naturally. It's not a fashion hair statement, or it's just this is how my hair grows. However it chooses to lock is how it will choose to lock. Okay. So at the top I might have thin locks, or I might have one fat one.
However I have it for, yeah, cool.
Yeah. So if a part of it goes, it goes. It's part of the journey, you know. But that's why I call it a journey after all. So there's no point in me being ashamed of it. It's just who I am.
No, I don't even think it's a shame thing. I feel like sometimes it's like a lack of choice. So no one wants to experience hair loss, and we don't realize until it's gone how much of like our identity that it makes up. And so for some people, it's kind of like it could even just be like an adjustment period. Like, okay, I'm not ready to kind of like. Me personally, maybe I can face it, but I'm not ready for like the questions and stuff because people are very, very inert. You know, anything that happens to you, they're like, "Oh, what's happened to your hair? Or what's happened to your face? You gained weight? You lost weight?" They probably want to know everything about your body.
But they won't tell you when you look good, though. They won't tell you when you look good. They won't tell you when you look good. They won't be like, "Oh my days, you look really good."
Change, and they'll be like, "Oh, are you sick?" Like whatever. And some people just aren't ready for that. So for them, it's kind of like, let me accept this by myself first, before I kind of like bring it to the world and have them put all their opinions on me.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
like it's a perspective thing and a personal choice as well. Yeah, and so I don't begrudge no one for doing anything like that. A while
ago is that people don't trust people with hair loss. So there's a study, I can't remember the actual figures, but if you see like, especially like men with hair loss, like receding hairlines and stuff, they're less, people perceive them as trustworthy and attractive than people with hair.
Really?
Yeah. I'll try and find it. I'll send it to you. Yeah, it's a study like proper, like people just don't, they look at you and they feel like, not really for me.
Wow.
So yeah, so there's a lot of things that play into it.
Yeah.
So if you're a man, please just don't go Turkey. You can get a hair transplant. You can use the fibers. Just do it safely. Yeah.
But what if their problem is they're just towel drying and just drying out their hair?
But that's the thing I said. Like, if you have a simple regime, you can find out where your problem is. So most people, they switch and they're like, okay, actually, you know, all the issues that I thought I was having, they're gone now. Some people might be like, oh, some things are still persisting. And that's where we can like intervene and figure out treatments and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah, man, it's nice to see you. I have to come in soon, but when we're allowed.
Yeah. This is my first podcast link up. I've been trying to do one for ages.
Yeah, I feel like I have to do sorry, my thing's acting up. I feel like I have to do one with you. Like I feel like I need to do a male story now of like guys with hair loss.
Yeah, I'll do one with you. I'll do one with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Set it up.
Yeah. So tell the people where they can find you.
Instagram, Ebuni Ajedwa hair, EBUNIAJIDUAH hair. And then my podcast is called Snatched Edges. It's on iTunes, Spotify. I'm soon gonna put it on YouTube. Yeah, that's it. That's usually where I am on the interwebs. Oh, I write a column for Gowden magazine called Afro Answers, where I try to cover all the myths and stuff. So if you have a question, I've probably answered it somewhere. Just type in and look around on my socials. Yeah. Thank you for having me, man. This was fun.
No, it was fun. I always have you on there. I'm gonna do another one with a few different types of artists, like, you know, hairdressers, cooks,
that'd be cool.
And just see how we go forward. I think we need to connect. Everything's connected.
Everybody's
connected in a weird way. So it's nice to speak to people and see how we're connected.
Yeah, man.
So give thanks for being on. And people, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, and also share the video.
And get a tattoo from Rob. He's a really, really good artist. I've got a jumper on so you can't see, but he's covered my skin. He's great. I love him.
Give thanks. Well, love everyone.
Bye then.